Hey guys, this is Dresdan for those of you that have seen some of my videos before, but if you haven't seen any of my videos, what I'm all about is, I'm a recent graduate from university. However, I'm not just your normal graduate. I've attended 3 different universities and spent time at 7, half were global. I've completed 8 different internships, half were global across different industries. I've completed placements. I've completed internships with some of the most prestigious and largest companies in the world with 250,000 employees, making revenue of 60 billion plus. And I've just had the most crazy roller coaster experience that I want to share with all of you to decipher whether university or college is worth it. Is it worth it? And because I've spent time in Asia, Europe, and America, this is applicable across all universities, all colleges, and I will go into some of the differences if I need to, where something that I might say might not apply to that, but everything that I'm going to say is mostly going to apply to all universities across the globe. And other things I'm going to talk about is making the most out of your university experience, even whether it's getting involved in societies, voluntary organisations. There's a number of different things that you can do and get involved in, and as well, housing situations. I've lived in over 5 different housing situations, and they've all offered completely different learning experiences. Some have been an absolute nightmare. So I'm just going to give you my advice on how I would approach all of these different topics and sort of parcel it into one. This is an hour video, so I'm going to be talking about 6 specific different areas. So you can skip to these bits. About every 10 minutes it's gonna change onto a new topic. But the first one that I'm going to tackle is choosing your university. Okay. By talking about these 6 different areas, we're all going to be able to come to the conclusion ourselves. I'm not going to answer the question for you. I want you to come to the answer yourself, whether is university right for you. And the thing is, it comes down to so many different factors. I don't know about you, but my experience was at college. I'm from a very deprived area, deprived town, and your only option when you leave college is to become a barber, or you can't. It's even really hard to learn a trade. It's really hard. We don't have any trade schools. It's in America. I know they have a lot more trade schools, so you can go down that route. But where I'm from, it's either go to university or go straight into full-time work. So it was a no-brainer for me. I was never necessarily the smartest person in the room, but I was always the hardest worker in the room. So I managed to get into university. And something I would say that you have to be really, really aware of when you're choosing what university you go to and what subject you're choosing. So those are the 2 main ones. How do you decide that? Because let me just say right now, you have no clue. You have no idea, right? Maybe if since the age of 5 your parents have been engineering you to go to Oxbridge or go to a Russell Group and or go to an Ivy League, and that they've told you what you're going to study, and you've just believed that and gone along with that, that's fine. I personally wouldn't have really liked that. One of the things that I've had quite a lot of benefit from is my parents actually having no involvement in my choices and what university and things like that I chose. But this is probably the biggest decision of your life, within your life so far. It's going to be the biggest decision. And let's say there's over 100 different subjects you can choose from. There's over 100 different universities. In England, let's go, or in America or in Asia, wherever it is you are, you need to look globally. That would actually be my first tip to you. Look globally. Don't just pigeonhole yourself to the UK or the US or Asia. Look globally if you can, if you have the financial means to do it. So studying in Europe is going to be your cheapest option, unless there are some cheaper alternatives in Asia that I don't necessarily know about. But I know some of the top schools in Asia are quite expensive. I know not as expensive as America or England, but they are. In Europe, in Spain and Italy, I know you can go to schools for 2,000 or 2,000 euros a year. Or you can go to Germany where you can study for free. Scotland's free, but you have to be Scottish. And in the UK, it's £9,000 a year as of right now, and it's going to be increasing. So I think they're putting it up to 9,250 next year. And then in America, you know, you have your private colleges, which are $45,000 a year and upwards. You know, Harvard is something like 100 to 150,000 a year, and you can then go to schools that like public colleges, which will be more closer to the UK sort of price, which is 9,000. You know, moving upwards to 15,000, things like that. So if you go to a state college, and why I want to tell you about these different prices and these different places around the world, because it's a competitive market, and each of these colleges want you. That's what you got to remember. They want you. Although you do need to have the right requirements and the right skills to get in, but they're fighting for these places. The thing is, I always used to say to myself, I'd like to have a debate with myself and my friends. Is university a business, or is it this government support for people to, you know, go through the different stages of education? Hell yes, it's a business. They're taking £9,000 to £150,000 off you a year. They're making an absolute fortune. And I don't know about you at your university, or when you go to university, you'll see that there's construction everywhere. But everywhere so the 7 different universities that I've seen and been to, and I've attended 3, there's always been masses of construction. Okay, so I'm gonna go into talking about what are the factors that you should consider when you're choosing a university. One, this is a true one. Is it a nice looking university? You're going to be spending the next 3 to 5 years there. Is it a shithole? If it is a shithole, then you better make it your shithole, you know. But yeah, you want a university with preferably a nice campus, because it means you have more room for socialising, more room for different areas to just hang out. Like I found, I was being at a university for 2 years straight, and there's just no space. There's just no space whatsoever, and it's one of those ones that are broken up in the city. So if you go into London, a lot of the universities are going to be broken up across the city, and it's like a fragmented campus, but there's no actual real campus. I personally don't think that is the best way. You can go to these beautiful universities. They've got them in New York, you know, these beautiful rivers and lakes running through, all these, you know, acres of green grass and fields, and I think that's beautiful. And we have some here in the UK too. I'm not sure whether you'll find that in Asia, but you know, you can get some like large campuses, whether there's greenery or fields or not. You can get places where there's just more space, more things to do, more places to eat, more places to socialise, and more places to meet people. I might as well go straight into the discussion of whether you know, what does it matter what university you go to, and does it matter what subject you choose? Yes and yes. Let's talk about university first. So the university that you choose is less meaningful than what you study, right? The university that you choose, the way that I'll explain it is like this. Okay, so if you've got 2 people starting university, one at the worst university in the country, and then one at Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Stanford, okay, they're on the let's say a job's here. This is where they're starting, and then this is where the person at the lower university is starting, right? And that's the gap. And then, so how do you make up that gap? Well, for this person here, they're gonna have to get work experience. They're gonna have to become a lot more likable. They're gonna have to just get lots of different jobs and learn and get very grounded and learn about themselves and what they want, and they're going to have to engineer their path to that job to necessarily get there quicker than this person. Whereas this person just needs to then get the work experience and do okay, and they'll probably get a job. Will their CV be put to the top of the pile? Yes. Will it get them into the interview? Yes. Will it get them the job? No. So don't feel like you're at a competitive disadvantage when you come and you're competing against people from Oxbridge or Ivy League. Necessarily, they have their own routes and paths that they go into working for top tech companies, top banking companies, and you necessarily might not go and apply for those companies. So you'll be competing against all the rest of the countries, all the rest of the universities. So I really wouldn't worry about that too much. The best thing that you can do is that if you do go to a mediocre or average university, is you need to maximise and put yourself at the best competitive advantage. And the way that you do that is through internships, placements, any work experience, working with voluntary organisations, charities, companies love to see that, and just really being proactive, putting yourself out there. People even like it if you were captain of whatever society, the ultimate frisbee team, and leadership is this, again, talked about again and again and again, one of the most valuable skills that companies are now looking for, because they want to turn you into one of their leaders, their managers that are going to help move the company forward. But anyway, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let's go back a little bit. I was talking about universities and making sure that you're making the right choice for universities and making sure that you're choosing the right subject. So when you are choosing a university, each college is different, right? And even if you choose the same subject, you could choose to study chemistry at Oxford or Sheffield, London, or somewhere in New York, or in India, Germany, somewhere else in China, Taiwan. They're all going to be completely different. Regardless it's spoken in a different language in different areas. Let's assume that they're all teaching they're all teaching in English. There's going to be different themes in chemistry that they're going to teach you. There's going to be different module structures. There's going to be different ways that they're going to assess you. And that might benefit you and might be of an interest to you according to the different university, the different themes and the different modules. So you need to look into that. The best thing that you can do, and I say this for everything, for jobs, whether you're applying for jobs or universities or whatever it is you're going to get into, join in a team, speak to somebody or reach out to somebody. LinkedIn is amazing for this, right? Reach out to somebody on LinkedIn who goes to University of London, University in London, whether it's UCLA, whatever it is, LSE, and you just reach out and send them a message and go, hey, what's your course like? Do you enjoy it? And that is a huge, what their response to you is there. You might not want to do it from just one person, because that's bias, but if you ask a number of different people, you start to build an idea about, is this university for me? Is what they're saying their experience what I want to experience? That's it. Do you want to experience what they've experienced? So ask as many people as you can. Ask as many people as you can about whether their university, what the module structure is like. You can look that up online, so you can look that up for yourself. But asking them about what's the campus like, what's the housing like, there's so much that goes into it. What are the professors like? There's so many different factors that aren't all in your control, right? But what is in your control is building up an awareness and an idea about whether that university is going to be right for you, and whether that campus is going to be right for you, that course is going to be right for you. So those are the sort of main themes around choosing the right university. Make sure it's got an enjoyable campus, right? make sure you've reached out and spoken to people who are at the university. They're going to offer you so much advice and help. But remember, don't just ask one person. Ask lots of people, and ask that not just for the campus that you're interested in, different campuses. And you, again, like I'm saying, you're going to start to build this idea about, okay, is this university that I'm interested in? Is this the college that I'm sort of catered to, right? And then what I'm going to come on to in a minute is this course right for me? Is this the right course? And then, of course, you have to factor in cost. At the end of the day, that's just going to be, if you're going to say, I'm only going to invest this much into my education, then that's going to take out a lot of choices for you. Or if you're going to say, I can invest the max amount, then it's going to be harder to try and narrow that down. Or if you just want to focus on the top. So those are the sort of main themes. So what about choosing the right subject? Choosing the right subject is, I would say, more important than choosing the university or college. 100%, no argument about it. Because when you apply for a job, they are going to be looking for a specific degree. When they put up their job posting, they're going to say, we want engineers, we want chemists, we want people from the humanities, we want geographers, we want people from environmental science, we want people who study business. So that you need to make sure that you're choosing the subject that is going to get you to the job that you want. So there's no point studying geography if you want to go and become an accountant, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's not gonna work. But what you can do, and again, this is a bit like going and speaking to people to broaden this idea and this sense of what university is going to be right for you, what course is going to be right for you. You can do the exact same in this aspect, which is, and note this down, this is one of the most important things, and that is reverse engineer the job that you want to be in. Say, for example, you want to be CEO of an energy company, right? Let's go on LinkedIn again. I'm saying you need to use this as much as you can. It's absolute gold dust. It's absolute gold if you know how to use it. You need to reverse engineer your career path. So type in CEO of an energy company or whatever it is you want it to be, top accountant at this firm, entrepreneur, whether it's the CFO of a tech company. Type in, find out who they are. If you want to start off with people with celebrity status, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, they're all entrepreneurs. They've created their own thing. So you're better off looking at someone who's a CEO of whether it's some of these biggest companies in the world, Deloitte, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, McKinsey. I'm talking about these are the top, most prestigious companies. But then on another level, look at retail stores. Look at Amazon. Look at whatever company it is for you that's advertising. Look at the top person in that company, and they will have their job history on LinkedIn most of the time. They will have their job history on LinkedIn, and you can use this to really find out. Okay, well, they worked at Sports Direct, their first job. Well, they worked at Market Basket, their first job, and they've moved up. They've managed to. Okay, then they went to university. Okay, they've done the rubbish jobs to start with, but what have they done since university? That's what you really need to be looking at, and especially after they graduated. Did they go? So the Prime Minister, Theresa May, or the Prime Minister of England, she has a degree in geography. Okay, so what did she do with that degree in geography? How did she become the Prime Minister? Well, she went into banking after she graduated. Okay, but what does that have to do with being the Prime Minister? Well, she worked for the Bank of England, and she built up her status there, and then moved into government, and then worked her way up from there. So it's never, you probably hear this a lot, but it is true. It's never a straight line to where you want to go. It's a web. And that's true. But instead of me just saying that and you just hearing that, I want you to actually take that. You have to really believe that, because it's true. You have to get comfortable with that, because for a lot of people, not having a straight line to success is like, okay, I understand that, but I don't believe it. And when you don't believe it, you will get a bit upset when things don't go the right way, and you can get anxiety and suffer a little bit because things haven't gone the way that you expected them to. But it really isn't a straight line, it's a web. Like I said, I've attended 3 different universities, C7. I've done, over 7 different internships, placements. Half of them are global. I've lived in 4 different housing situations. There's been numerous different experiences. I've been all around the world, on different continents, and I've lived in different countries, done different things, worked for the biggest companies, some of the biggest companies in the world, some of the most prestigious companies, 250,000 employees, 60 billion in revenue. And from all of these experiences, I can tell you that it's not a straight line. It's definitely a web. It really is. But this is key. So really pay attention here. Reverse engineer your way using LinkedIn, or whether you know somebody in an industry, go speak to them, ask them about what their job history has been, what did they do, how did they get there, because you're going to use this to shortcut your way to get in there, and to make yourself realise, get comfortable with, you can go and teach English, right? And I'm not going to necessarily say you can then become Prime Minister, but Theresa May was in banking, she then went into government, she became Prime Minister. They are interlinked, because it's that top sort of level, like went to Oxford, you go into banking, like that's sort of the path, right? And that is one of the paths. So if you go into teaching, come out of that, and then go and run an energy company. Okay, those aren't interlinked whatsoever. Doesn't matter. I'm telling you, you can. It's a web. There's different ways of getting to different positions, right? They say that when you're working in a company, right, the best way to get a promotion or the best way to get ahead is to actually leave that company and go to a competitor, right? Doing the exact same role, same job, just different company. And because you've taken yourself out of that company where there might not be a position available to get that next pay rise from a VP to a ED or MD, whatever it is, and you've gone to another company and said, well, these are my skills, this is what I've been doing for the last couple of years, but I want to apply for the job role above mine. You're going to get a pay rise, and that's what they say is the best way to put yourself at the best competitive advantage, because you're not pigeonholing yourself and you're not putting yourself in one box. That's saying, well, actually, I have to wait for a position to come up in this company. It could be 20 years. More realistically, I say it could be 5 years. That company's got a job posting going right away, right now. So you can make that change right now. You just have to be willing to change. You have to be so diverse, flexible. And I'm going to be doing lots of videos on all of these different aspects, because it's huge. I've learned all of this stuff over the last 7 years. There's a lot of things to teach you, there's a lot of things to be taught, there's a lot of things to talk about. I'm here just giving you the broad strokes of what it really means to choosing your right subject, choosing your right course, putting yourself in a position to maximise your chances of getting a job at the end, or creating your own job. I'm just talking about, is university worth it? Is college a scam? How are you going to get the most out of your experience? This is what I really want to be talking to you about right now. So, going back, is choosing your subject more important than choosing your degree? Yes. Okay, so how are you going to decide what subject you are going to choose? Well, it can be a few different ways that you can do that. One of them is what do you enjoy? Right? What do you enjoy the most? What gets you into what's known as flow? So, you want to read the book Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. He's a Hungarian psychologist, and he's got a bit of a confusing name. And what that's talking about is when you get so immersed in a subject, because you're going to be doing a hell of a lot of reading, you'll be doing a lot of studying. That's what a degree is. That's what education is: reading, studying, learning. But then, well, that's what they do. That's what the university is: reading, studying, learning. But you still need application and experience. And this is the big dilemma, right? Does university teach our younger generation what they need to get the skills to get into the workplace? Does university, give people the practical experience as well as just getting them to read books? Are universities equipping our future leaders with the skills that they need to be productive in the workplace and to hit their come in head on and really start making an impact in the company that they're in and the role that they're in? Probably not, right? And that's because universities don't have the I'd say that they don't have they do have the funds. They got tons of money. Do they have the facilities? Yeah, potentially. To make sure that you're getting the practical side of what you're doing as well. But this is what it comes into the argument of choosing the right subject. So each university is going to have different things that they're going to offer, right? So some might mean that you have to do a placement, which means you have to work in industry for a year as part of your course, and that's gonna, when you graduate, that's going to be a separate award that you get, a separate degree that says I've studied at the university for 3 years and I've actually gone out and got work experience for a year. I'd say those are the most in demand for companies, right? So you want to get that. And is the subject or the university going to offer you a year abroad, a year to study abroad? So like I said, I've done internships, I've done placements, I've lived in different countries, attended university, I've studied abroad. There's things called Erasmus, there's things where you can live in different countries, any country in the world, from Japan to Canada to England to, I don't know anyone that's done South America, but Australia definitely. There's lots and lots of opportunities for you to study abroad, and companies really like to see that you do that because it just shows that you're, in this day and age, all companies are diverse cultures. All companies, well, when I say all companies, that's not true. Most of the largest companies have very diverse cultures. You're working with people who are international, or from different countries. So they like to see that you are a team player and that you are able to adapt and to work in different working environments with different people from different countries. So that's a big plus. So again, something for you to really consider and something for you to think about. But whether you choose your subject, you need to look at the economy, look at the market right now. What's in demand, right? So look at what you enjoy, right? So whether you just really, really enjoy doing math, right? Okay, then that's great. But although every person I do know that has done math has said that it's actually made them not want to do math because they go to university and it becomes more of a chore than something that you actually enjoy. But that's again give or take. That might not be the situation that you're going to have. Or the experience that you're going to have. So really don't worry about that too much. But look at what you enjoy. You can rule things out by looking at what you enjoy. Okay, I don't enjoy geography, so I'm not going to do geography. I don't enjoy history. I'm not going to do history. Right. So that is something you should really focus on. Right. So what do you enjoy? Second thing is what are you good at. All right. So do you get bad grades in a subject? Okay, well, you should probably rule that out because university is a step up, It really is, especially when you get into your second and final year, and it's a lot of reading and studying and figuring out theories and really being able to get your brain to work and to be able to debate and to discuss the subject and with your colleagues and as well. You've got to remember that if you're the smartest person in your region, in your country so far, you're going to be joining a university with people from all over that country. So you're no longer going to be the smartest person, right? Well, someone's going to be the smartest person. It might just not necessarily be you. It could be you. But bear that in mind. So if you are getting the highest grades in something, when you go to university, you might not be getting the highest grades. So factor in, what do you enjoy? What are you good at? And not just good at in the sense of getting good grades, but being able to debate, being able to discuss a topic, being able to keep up with current affairs, and really being able to understand your subject in depth. And how are you going to know is that if that's what you're going to want to study when you get to university? Well, go out and get some books, go out and speak to people. Like I said, LinkedIn's an amazing tool that you can use for this, and you're going to get so much out of taking these steps, seriously. And it's going to put you in the best position to make a decision which is going to affect the next 3 to 5 years of your life, right? That's not a short amount of time. That's a long amount. That's a long period of time. And it's not to go without, a lot of people choose university on a whim. I'll take that one. I'll choose that subject. Why? Well, no one asked them why. They didn't ask themselves why. They just did it. It's a big dropout rate in the first year of university. People don't enjoy it, or they found out that they're not actually that good at it, right? Huge dropout rate. Less so at the high universities, I'd say, but definitely from the middle down. There's a lot of people that just struggle, and I haven't even come on to talk about the other factors that come into university. I'm just talking about these first couple right now, right? These first couple of factors of choosing how you get into university. I still need to talk about drugs and alcohol. It's a huge part of university. It's huge, right? So I could talk about that for a good hour or so, easy. And then there's getting involved in societies, organisations, and making sure that you're getting on with your lecturers, building a social circle, your housing. How can you survive with your roommates and your housemates? Again, making sure that you're enjoying your time at university. There's all these different factors that come into the university experience. But like I said, I'm just giving you a broad overview of getting that job at the end of university, but making these choices now that are going to help you get there, right? So you want to make sure that you're enjoying your course. You want to make sure that you've chosen the right course because you're good at it, and that is within your financial means. Are there any other factors that you need to think about when choosing your subject at university? Yeah, so jobs. You might have heard the acronym STEM: Science, Technology, Engineering and Maths, right? These are the 4 degrees that are going to get you the most chance of getting a job, right? Because why? Because they're in demand, right? Simple as that. For the UK example, Theresa May's just released her new plan, a strategy for business for the next 10 years, 12 years up to 2030, and that's getting a lot of graduates into jobs in STEM, right? Those are the jobs that are in demand. There are lots of other jobs as well that are in demand, especially architects, design. Those things, they do come under STEM. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. But what are we looking at here? We're talking about chemistry, biology. We're talking about environmental. We're talking about engineering, civil, all types of engineering, electrical. All the maths, all the sciences. Because what they do is they show that your brain works a certain type of way. and that you can, there's a lot of math involved, there's science involved, you can work things out, you're using, programs, you might be coding, unless you're doing, computer science is one of the most in-demand subjects right now, degrees there is right now, because it's the age of the computer, simple as that. It was the late 1900 bubble, the dot-com bubble, where the likes of, Amazon, Google, all of these different companies had just blasted onto the online scene. I still see lots of things about, how did Amazon become not just a book retailer, but this huge technology company? Well, they were the first ones that took it all online, and they just built from there. They hired the best computer scientists and some of the best people, even PhDs from Harvard and Stanford, and got them to build the cloud software. And they're worth something now more, 60 billion more than the whole retail market combined. Think about that. That's huge. So you've got all of these companies that are in demand looking for computer scientists, people in STEM, and I find people studying business is a funny one, because this is something to keep in mind. Competitiveness. What is, you should know what is the most competitive degree to have right now. You should know what this is all about is, what can I do to put myself at the best possible competitive advantage to get myself either a job or to create your own job. How can you do that? Well, choosing your subject is a huge decision in this, right? And I think that you should go down the path. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Yeah, you're making your own decision based off of things that I might spark something not going off in your brain, something that I've said, right? That's what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. That's your job. What I'm doing here is I'm giving you lots of golden nuggets, right? That is what it is. But choosing a STEM subject is obviously going to put you at a better competitive advantage than studying history, English, literature, drama. But again, it's not saying that we don't need those subjects. We don't need people in those subjects. Yeah, we do. And there is a job at the end of that. If you do what I've said from the beginning, go and find out who's at the top of the drama school. How did Tom Hardy become an actor? Well, he went to London's School of London, the most prestigious school in London, to act, do drama. And something that he said was a big difference between the school that he was in and other schools around London is, well, they were working twice as hard. Other schools, they're working 30-hour days. He was working 60 hours. They were doing double the amount of time. Now you might be thinking, well, how can you do 60 hours in a day? Let's just take it with a pinch of salt. He was working twice the amount of hours as people were doing in the other courses. He said that was something that was a big factor in his success, coming out of school. Okay, well, now he's just releasing Venom, one of the biggest, sort of blockbuster Marvel movies coming out, which is grossing God knows how much money, over 100 million or whatever it is. How are these people who are already successful, how have they engineered what it is they've engineered? What have they done? What have they done to get there? And you can find these things out. It's not just they've just gone whoosh, just got to their position without a trace. Not with the internet. You can find out everything on the internet. Okay, so, and that's the same whether you want to, become the next major neuroscience theorist, psychologist. You need to be thinking about what these subjects entail and where are they going to get you to in the end. Reverse engineer. What did those people do to become CEO? What company did they spend 2 years with? What role were they doing? What did that role entail? How did they get onto that next job? Who did they speak to? What was that next position, right? That's what the level that you need to start thinking about. Okay. So, what do you enjoy? What are you good at? Another thing that you need to take into, consideration is, do you need to do a master's and a PhD to get a job? Okay. Psychology, for example. Most people that do psychology, they end up doing a master's or even a PhD, because that is just the natural path that you go down when you're doing that subject. That is how it works. If you want to become a lawyer, you have to go and do your degree. It doesn't necessarily have to be in law. Again, something that you need to be thinking about and learning about. What path can you go down? What did Ruth Bader Ginsburg do to get on the Supreme Court? Well, she studied at Harvard, Stanford, whatever it is. I don't actually know. And she done this subject. She went to this firm. She spent this amount of time there. How did Hillary Clinton get to become, running for president against Mr. Trump? Well, she went to an Ivy League school. She practiced law. She went to law school. That's what you need to be thinking about. That's what you need to be looking at. But yeah, so if you're studying psychology, do you need to go and do a master's? Do you need to do a PhD? You should know whether you're going to do one of these before you even start your bachelor's, right? And why is that? Well, because again, it's this natural path that you need to. You might need one for the job that you're doing. Okay, well, you're going to go and do psychology. Let's say, I'm not going to do a master's, I'm not going to do a PhD. I'm just going to get a job. In psychology? Yeah, let's say you're going to try and get a job in psychology. This is, again, another huge topic that I'm going to talk about, is about, do you need to get a degree? Do you need to get a job directly associated to your degree? And how can you not do that to start with and then move back into it? It's a big, confusing topic that I'll talk to you about in another video. What about when you apply to do a psychology job and you've only got a bachelor's, and they say, well, we need you to have a master's for this, and you say, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, why haven't you done your research? Why don't you know this? Well, you need a PhD. Let me see your PhD thesis. Some of these jobs require that. That's a requirement. So think about whether that's what you're going to do. If you're doing engineering or you're doing a science-based subject, you don't necessarily have to do a master's, but again, depends on what job you want to do. You want to be a professor at a university, then yeah, you're probably going to have to do a master's and a PhD. You're going to have to be publishing. You have to be publishing theses. You're going to be coming up with theories. That's what your job role is. That's what you're going to have to do. If you're going to become an accountant, well, that's 5 years of going to of getting your bachelor's degree, and then you have to do all of these extra exams to get your accountant certification. All right, that's what you have to do. That's how long these things are going to take, and it's hard, and it's going to take a lot of time. So when you're taking all of these things into consideration, think about what you enjoy and what are you good at, right? I'd say those are the two biggest factors that you need to think about when deciding what course you're going to do, right? But then think about where you want your university to be, what locations you want to be in. Is it, if you're going to study in America, for example, you want to work for a tech company, well, is it going to be better for you to go and study in Seattle or study in San Francisco, near where all of these tech companies are, all these startups are happening and all the big business is? Look at where companies have these arms, right, of employment that they take from certain areas. Tech companies, banking companies, they're going to take from the top schools. So look at where these areas are. Look at where these businesses are investing in, because they invest to employ from certain areas. All businesses do these roadshows, so they go around to different schools and they employ directly from that specific school, and they speak to you and they say, well, okay, we're going to actually take you through the first stages of interviews, because this doesn't happen all the time, so this is just a couple of incidences. We're going to take you through to the next stage, because we like that you're studying to become an accountant, and we want you to work in our finance department for our firm. That's the path. So that's something to bear in mind. What are these companies? What schools are they going to? Look at the top 20. Choose your top 20. So in England we call it the Russell Group. In America they call it Ivy League. I'm not sure what they call it in Asia. But these are the top schools. But also these are super competitive roles. So when you get into university, right? So I've done over 7 different internships, half were global work placements. I've worked in industry. I've had lots and lots of different experiences across multiple industries, working for companies with 250,000 employees, 60 billion in revenue. It's been a complete plethora of different experiences, and you need to, from the offset, again, reverse engineering. What experience do you need to get the job that you want to get into? Okay, what experience do you need? Well, over the last 5 years, the degree isn't enough anymore because too many people are getting them. So now it's all about experience, right? How do you pass an interview? Well, the number one thing I would say is you need to be able to talk about your experiences. So how can you talk about your experiences without experience? Well, you would have experienced something in life without necessarily having experience. So there are ways that you can talk about experience without having direct experience, but we're talking about direct experience right now. I'll again talk about not having direct experience in another video, but you need a development plan. Again, another thing that I'll talk about in another video. You need internships. You need placement years. You need work in industry. You need to spend... How can you do that whilst you're at university? Well, you're at university for 7 months of the year. Right, so think about that. That gives you 5 months free. And you have that time over Christmas, Easter and the summer. Okay, and it is of vital importance that you make the most out of this time. You do not have time to mess around. You don't have any time. Well, you can mess around, especially in your first year. Spend your first year messing around, right? You take that advice as you will. I personally think that it's a good idea to have as much fun as you can as your first year, because it gets more serious as you go in. Your first year you're living away from home for the first time, or whether you're not living away from home. Again, that's another thing to discuss. Where do you live? Is it better to save money, live at home, work? I don't know. Do you work weekends? But yeah, it's of vital importance to consider all of these different factors, and you're gonna need to get experience. Period. And whether getting that experience is hard, because one, it's super competitive. Two, when you're at an age such as 17, 18, or even when you're older, there is anxiety, there's pressure, there's people, you might not have confidence, but this all comes with, you just have to be willing to take that step. And you don't just naturally get confident. You don't just naturally, you're not actually be a public speaker or a leader. Well, no, you are. There are factors inside you where you can do different tests, where you can find out whether you're, are you extroverted, are you introverted, are you, what type of personality style are you? Are you more naturally quite earthy and wanting to help people? Are you logical? Are you just more of a leader, getting shit done? Or are you more of a helper, more of somebody who's able to, bring optimism into a team and to really drive an initiative, for example. You can take these tests, and I think that these tests should be done in school. These are things that, everything that I'm talking to you about right now is not talked about in school. None of it. And, I want you to be able to watch this and then take the shortcuts by listening to this and taking the golden nuggets and applying it to your situation. Whether you're applying it to get into university or not, whether you're trying to just get into a job, whether you're trying to get into a trade, whether you're 20 years down the line with 20 years work experience, but you want to retrain, you want to get into something different, you want to get out, you want to create your own thing. That's what this is all about. Okay. So there's just a number of different ways that you can approach this, but I'm trying to give you the tools so that you can use to reverse engineer your way to success, reverse engineer your way to a life of freedom, reverse engineer your way to a life that you envisage, that you plan for. You don't just fall into a job. You know, it's what a lot of people do. You fall into a job, get stuck there, and you realise, actually, I've hated the last 20 years of my life. I haven't enjoyed this job. That's not what we're aiming for here, okay? That's not what we're aiming for. But getting experience is going to be the key to getting you into a job. So once you've chosen your university, right, you've chosen your course, you need to create a plan around, how am I going to get to that job? Do I need a master's degree? Do I need a PhD? What experience do I need? What countries do I have to work in? Should I go and study abroad? How's that going to look on my CV? Is that going to be a benefit for me? Not even just that. Am I going to enjoy that? Hell yes, you're going to enjoy it. So the time that I've spent global, time that I've spent abroad have been the best times of my life. I'm a very global, I have an international mindset. I'm somebody that's always looking to be immersed in new cultures, learn new languages. I'm learning Mandarin Chinese at the minute. All these different things that you can learn. So, you can follow my path. Subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the button below. You can also connect with me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All of these different ways that you can follow my journey. So I'm going to be in Singapore next month, and I'm going to be moving to Australia. There's all these different things that I'm doing at the minute that you can keep on top with. So I'm an entrepreneur, I'm also a global projects manager. I work on different projects around the world for the biggest companies in the world. I spend time learning new languages, really experiencing culture. So I create travel videos as well, because I love traveling. I think it's one of the best things in the world. It doesn't matter what age you are. It really doesn't. Preferably, you want to get these tools and these golden nuggets when you're young, so you can get yourself to live an amazing life or retire by 40, whatever you want to do. If you're watching this at 40, well, you're not going to retire at 40, because you need to start putting these tools in place now. You're going to just be living a better life for yourself down the line. So you need to be putting this all together, right? So getting that experience is going to be key, and it can't just be any experience. You can't just go and work in Market Basket or the local supermarket and that's the experience. That's what I'm going to talk about in this job. No, it has to be relevant. It has to be relevant experience. I've worked in the supermarket for the last 4 years, weekends, just working to get money in. I've always had time in and out. It's only when I've been back in a certain location that I have had to do that. But I've been working, projects, internships, all paid placements in industry. Don't ever do one that isn't paid, right? Again, big discussion around this. I personally think that you should never do one that isn't paid. I think it's bullshit. Why shouldn't you get paid for your time? If you're doing one that isn't paid, then it's a bullshit internship. It's bullshit. Don't do it. They say, be willing to work for free. I've seen, lots of YouTube videos on this from, I think either Gary Vee or one of his other people that he works with, and they're saying, work for free. Bollocks to that. This isn't slave labour. This is me applying my skills to help you. Yes, I'm getting something from you, but you're getting something from me. That's how it works. It's business. That's employment. So don't worry about working for free. There are hundreds, thousands of positions, placements, internships available. that you can look at to achieve, to get a role that's going to be paid well as well. But not to get your hopes up. Not all of them are going to be paid as well as others. It depends what type of experience you're going for. If you're looking to work on say for example, you've done a conservation degree, and you're looking to get into that, and you're going to go into agriculture and that sort of thing. For some reason, in that area, because they don't have much money, they are going to ask for you to work for free. Okay, not all of them, but a lot of them they will. If you're in banking, if you're in accountancy, you're in science, they've got tons of money. They're going to pay you. Don't worry about it. Same if you're in design, engineering, things like that. That's what I'm telling you about. Make sure you're choosing the right degree for you. You know, do you need a lot of money? Do you not need a lot of money? That's a factor. It's a factor that's going to help, influence your choice. Okay. So again, all of these things that you need to be thinking about, and they're all going to be huge factors into whether you're going to make a success out of your choices, right? This isn't going to be easy. This is a long road ahead, and you're constantly having to reverse engineer. But like I said, it's a web. It's not a straight line. So you might reverse engineer your way to one role. Okay, well, you've got into your bachelor's degree and you've applied for all of these internships. You haven't got anything. Oh shit! What's my plan B? What's my plan C? How can I change this? Well, easy way of making sure that doesn't happen is you apply to hundreds of jobs. You don't just apply to one. You don't fix yourself in one place. You don't just apply to one university. You apply to 5 different universities. You don't just apply to one job. You apply to hundreds. You fail. You succeed. You have to fail to succeed. I'm sure you've seen that. It's true. It's just true. You need to experiment, not necessarily just fail. You need to experiment with different things. What do you like? What is it you enjoy? Again, what people do you get on with? So talking about, I've lived in 4 different housing situations. I've liked some, I've hated some. They haven't all been enjoyable for me. But have I learned from each one? Yes. Have I become a more grounded person? Yes. Have I learned that this person works this way, this person works that way? Yes. They're all things that have added to my experience and I've learned from. Could I have just hated it and just tried to take no positives from it? Yes. So when you're looking at housing, a lot of it, main thing comes down to luck. You can't really choose most of the time until when you come into your 2nd and 3rd years. You can choose who you live with, but you don't really know someone until you live with them. So lots of people that have, they've moved in with their best friend and then it just hasn't worked out well. Not saying that that's the case for everybody, but that could be a potential factor. Volunteering in charitable organisations. This is the last thing I want to speak about. This is a new thing that companies are, well, not a new thing, but it's a big thing that people are not necessarily aware about, but it's huge. Is volunteering and working with a big charitable organisation. Companies love that. And if you can get involved in doing that, whether it's running a marathon or whether it's running a triathlon or baking cookies, cakes, raising money for charity, that's a great way to do it. Doing it with a team is also a really good way of doing it. Again, I can create some separate videos on how you can raise money for charity, what options you have and what you can do to do it, and what's the best way to market it. So a lot of people just create a Just Giving page and they're just like, alright, people give me money. No, it's not going to work like that. I'm sorry, it's not as easy as that. It's not as easy as that. Nothing's going to come to you easy. It is hard. You have to work hard at it. You have to want it. You have to want it for yourself. The people that you're going to meet along the way are either going to try and hold you back, they're going to, talk you down, or they're going to help you along the way. So all these different types of people that you're going to meet, all these different experiences that you're going to have, but it's going to be exciting. This isn't a negative thing. I'm not trying to give you a negative message here. I'm just saying be prepared. Think about what it is you want to be doing. Think about where it is you want to be going. Do you want to be abroad? Do you want to stay at home? Do you want to work local? You need to start building these connections now. The best thing you can do is be working whilst at university. Definitely. You should never not be working, I would say. Unless you've taken a specific amount of time out to go travelling or whatever it is. Don't go broke too. Don't go broke. Your financial situation is gonna be a huge factor into what you do at university. Things are expensive. You want to go skiing every year, it's going to cost a lot of money. You want to go and do that internship for free, it's going to cost a lot of money. You want to go and do that scholarship, but they're not funding you the whole thing, it's going to cost you some money. Okay, so think about all of these things that I've said, and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. Like I said, there's so many different things that I'm going to be talking about in my videos coming up across travel, business, entrepreneurship, degrees, people. Okay, so cool. And I'll now speaking to all of you, I hope you've all got something from this, and I'll catch you on the next video. Alright.